Hello, this is Dudley Brown, Executive Vice President of the National Association for Gun Rights. With President Obama in the Oval Office and calls for new gun control schemes reaching a fevered pitch following the tragedy in Connecticut, I'm sure you agree that the Second Amendment supporters must be on guard like never before. As Thomas Jefferson said, quote, "The price of freedom is eternal vigilance." With the Congress sworn in and the fight for our Second Amendment just beginning, I was very concerned to hear from my staff that you haven't yet renewed your membership. I hope it just slipped your mind or that you haven't gotten around to it yet, because your support for the National Association for Gun Rights is absolutely critical. Of course, I know you understand all the threats Second Amendment supporters are facing right now. President Obama and his allies are launching an all-out assault on our gun rights. Never mind that all gun control does is leave law-abiding citizens powerless to defend themselves against violent thugs. Never mind that anti-gun utopias like Mexico are cesspools of drug violence, rape, and murder. But what you might not know is just what a difference your membership in the National Association for Gun Rights makes. I remember when President Obama was first sworn in as president in January of 2009. Nancy Pelosi was Speaker of the House, and the gun grabbers had a nearly filibuster-proof Senate majority. Many so-called political experts thought passage of new gun control schemes was a foregone conclusion. A new so-called assault weapons ban, ammo bans, mandatory government-conducted screenings before you could buy a firearm, even the UN's so-called small arms treaty, you name it. It was all supposed to be a done deal. The media, the political pundits, and even the Washington, D.C. gun lobby were telling Second Amendment supporters like you and me to just give up. They were saying compromise. Fortunately, your National Association for Gun Rights didn't take that advice. Instead, we launched a massive nationwide mail and phone mobilization campaign designed to turn up the heat on members of Congress. We mobilized millions of Americans from all over the country against the gun grabber schemes. In short, we drew a line in the sand. National Association for Gun Rights members and supporters like you clearly made sure every member of Congress knew that if they voted for gun control, they might as well look for another job. Talk in Congress changed literally overnight. Talk of compromise stopped. The gun grabbers were the ones on the run for a change. It was incredible. Of course, that was only the beginning. Thanks to your help, the National Association for Gun Rights' bare-knuckled approach to politics continues to turn heads in Washington, D.C. It's easy to see why. It's because we're effective. We know what it takes to win. But the National Association for Gun Rights is not just making a difference in Washington, D.C. After the shooting tragedies in Arizona and Colorado, gun control started rearing its ugly head in state legislatures throughout the country. But National Association for Gun Rights members and supporters sprang into action and beat back the gun grabbers' assaults. Now, thanks to your action, support for constitutional carry, which holds that law-abiding American citizens should be free to carry a firearm to protect themselves and their families without going through a bunch of bureaucratic rigmarole, is surging in state legislatures throughout the country. Of course, I could go on and on, but the most important thing I want you to understand is you're making a difference, a huge difference. So I hope and pray you won't let your membership expire. Today, our backs are against the wall like never before. I know you understand that. Democrat Senator Dianne Feinstein's new so-called assault weapons ban can only be described as the effective end of the Second Amendment in America. You see, because of the tragedy in Connecticut, the gun grabbers are going for broke. The stakes could hardly be any higher. In fact, my staff informed me today that 10 gun bills were introduced in Congress on the first day of the session alone, and we're tracking almost 300 more bills in state legislatures nationwide, possibly even in your home state. The good news is the National Association for Gun Rights has been successful at defending your Second Amendment rights, but this is an all-out emergency that we must be prepared for. So I'm counting on you to act today. Of course, there's no set fee to renew your membership in the National Association for Gun Rights, but I do hope you'll go above and beyond what you've done in the past if you possibly can. Many in Congress and the media are convinced they're just weeks away from ramming through bill after anti-gun bill in Washington, D.C. and in state capitals nationwide. That's why, if you believe in the Second Amendment, please renew your membership in the National Association for Gun Rights today. Please be as generous as you can. As a gun rights activist for over 20 years, I know from experience the fate of our Second Amendment rights rests on the shoulders of grassroots warriors like you. So please renew your membership today.